Hello there, Michael Robinson from Emerson Solicitors. Just a quick word on the secret of successful conveyancing. I would suggest to all clients that they read and reread the information that is being provided to them, and then sit and think about the questions that they wish to ask, and then consider how those questions are asked and what questions need to be asked. Check the documentation that you've got from your prospective lender. Check what they've offered to lend to you. Compare that to the value of whatever property it is that you're going to buy, and see what shortfall that there is, and work out how you're going to gather up that shortfall. Don't forget you'll have potentially stamp duty land tax to pay, your legal fees to pay, removal fees to pay, estate agency fees to pay. If you undertake a survey, your surveyor's fees to pay. So you need to budget for this properly. We're obliged to undertake anti-money laundering checks. That means that we must be satisfied as to how the money that has been provided to us has been accumulated. Now, obviously, we know that if there's money from our mortgage from a lender, that's okay, but it's the deposit. Where's that come from? How did you manage to get that money? Where did you get the money from? Was it from wages, savings? Was it an inheritance? Was it from the selling of art? Was it from the selling of other products? Was it from gambling? How did you manage to accumulate that money? That's the question that we're asking. Simply providing a bank statement and saying there it is, it's sitting in a bank account, isn't good enough. And only when we are satisfied as to the source of funds and your source of wealth will the matter proceed. We are under a statutory obligation to undertake inquiries, and we take that statutory obligation very seriously, primarily because if we don't do it properly, we can get sanctioned by our regulator, and ultimately we could end up in court. So we do it properly. And if we ask you, the client, or the gifter to provide information and it's not provided, then we won't proceed. It's as simple as that. It takes roughly 12 weeks from the issuing of contracts for a standard conveyancing transaction to complete. So 12 weeks from the issuing of contracts. It's not 12 weeks from the day that you first contacted us, or it's not 12 weeks from the day that you decided that you were going to buy the property. It's 12 weeks from the issuing of contracts. It may well be done quicker, but of course, how quickly the process proceeds depends very much upon all the parties that are involved. Conveyancing is an organic, fluid transaction, and everybody must keep their cool, must stay focused on what it is that we're trying to achieve, not lose their rag, not fall into the trap of thinking that by haranguing the conveyancer things will be done quicker. They won't. It is quite reasonable for us to respond within 5 working days to any phone call or email. Quite reasonable if you compare that with other agencies and professions and organisations. And there's no reason for us to give one client's transaction greater attention than all the other clients' transactions when the other clients have paid a similar fee. And so we won't. And we're quite happy to ask those clients that will not abide with the terms and conditions to go elsewhere and get their work done elsewhere, because there's no need for us to have to put up with it. So read everything that you're given. Make sure you check about the money. Polite, calm, well-mannered, and take into account the fact that other people are involved. But also what we suggest is that before a property is marketed, that a title report is obtained from us so that we can look at whether or not there are any legal issues that need to be resolved before the property is marketed. For the life of me, I can't understand why this isn't standard practice. It really ought to be. Instead of just simply putting a house up for sale or putting an offer in on a property, only then to try to work out what's wrong with it and how it needs to be fixed, seems to me to put in the cart before the horse. Really, everything ought to be looked at in advance. All the documentation that a buyer is going to require should be provided in advance of it being marketed. All the forms that will need to be completed should be completed before the property is marketed. And in that way, things should move along quite smoothly, perhaps even quicker than 12 weeks from the issue of contracts. It would also help if you're buying a property that the inquiries that are raised with the seller aren't anything other than those that relate to title and are appropriate. Too often inquiries are just ridiculous, and certainly we and other firms just will not respond to ridiculous inquiries. Let's just keep it sensible, legal, and to the point. So if you're looking to buy a property, or if you're looking to sell a property, please do get in touch. We would be happy to undertake a title report for you. There is a fee for that, which is deducted from the fee should be involved in the transaction itself. And then that way we can give you proper advice as to how the matter can proceed and what issues need to be resolved and how they can be resolved before the property is marketed. Inquiries at emersons-solicitors.co.uk. Inquiries at emersons-solicitors.co.uk, or phone us on 0191 284 6989. 0191 284 6989. My name is Mike Robinson. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find Emerson Solicitors on Facebook. If you want to get in touch through those medium, feel free. Thank you very much.